Welcome to podcasts recorded live at the Center for Spiritual Living in Portland, Oregon. We have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center and its video podcasts, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.
Good morning. Everybody stand for our opening song, Holy, Holy Way.
Okay.
love is all around me. Let me know that love is all around me. Oh, let me know that love is all around me. Let me know that love is all around me. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall. Let me learn from all the ways I fall. Oh, let me know that love will heal us all. Let me know that love will heal us all. Oh, let me walk each day a little wiser. Let me walk each day a little wiser. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Good morning and welcome to the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. We are a science of mind community that teaches spiritual principles to transform your life and make the world a better place. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. All we ask is that you stay open to the possibility of changing your entire life simply by changing your mind. My name is Nancy Ashley, licensed practitioner here, and I welcome you. And if you are new to the center and joining us in person, there are welcome packets available and on the back table there. So please feel free to grab one on the way out. It has a lot of information about who we are and what goes on here, how we might serve you. So for our global audience, welcome to all of you on Facebook Live or who are going to be watching us on YouTube later in the day. You'll find a lot of information about who we are, what we stand for, and our website, cslportland.org, cslportland.org, we can't say it enough, has all of the information on the About Us tab. You'll get a lot of information about who we are, what we stand for, and all of the different activities going on here. So everyone is invited to go onto the website. Down at the bottom on the right-hand side is a place to put in your email address, your name and email address, and then you can sign up for daily affirmations, which Reverend Larry sends out. You can sign up for the email listing of everything that goes on here, everything you need to know. Reverend Larry sends out on Tuesday, so to keep us up to date. And then you can also enter your birth date, and you get a birthday card and a special gift, which is a free session with a licensed practitioner. So please go to our website, cslportland.org, and join us. A lot of things going on, and I'm going to highlight a few announcements. First, I just want to remind people or let you know that we have a town hall meeting coming up on August 1st, 2 weeks from now, and that will be both virtual and in person. So if you're here, we'll be going upstairs. If you are online, it'll still be available. Is that through Zoom? And the Zoom link will be available soon, coming soon. So we have our Wednesday meditation that we've been doing every week now since COVID started, and this week is being provided by licensed practitioner Kate Barrett, who will be doing freedom from pain and suffering. I want some of that, freedom, okay. And this is on Zoom, 7 o'clock every Wednesday night. We have different practitioners running through different programs every week, so please join us. Lunch with Reverend Larry has also been going on since COVID started, so this is a Friday 11:30 a.m. Virtual lunch. Bring your own lunch, and for the social time and some discussion of science of mind principles and what's been talked about that week in the service here. We also have Social Justice Book Club and a 12-step program for women, both of them on Zoom, and information about that is on our website, cslportland.org. So lots of things going on here. Let's see what else. Educational offerings, and Reverend Marilyn is going to talk with us. There was a little bit of an error last week in discussing the class.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to our Facebook Live audience. Today is the last day to sign up for the More on Emma Curtis Hopkins class. Last week there was an error that said we started last week. No, we start this Thursday, so you still have the opportunity to sign up. It is facilitated by licensed practitioner Kate Barrett and myself. It is 8 weeks, begins this Thursday, runs through September 9th. And recently I came across a quote by Brother David Stendhal Rast, and he said, "The mystic is not a special human being. Every human being is a special kind of mystic." In this course, it embodies the teachings of a very metaphysical, the metaphysical teacher of teachers, Emma Curtis Hopkins, who is known for her mysticism. And we're studying her 12 lessons in truth, emphasizing lessons 7 through 12, which are ways that we can take spirituality, incorporate it in our own life, and take it out into the world. And so that's what this course focuses on. And I'm just asking you and inviting you to ask yourself, how might I show up in the world if I saw myself as a mystic? So please join us as we explore the mysticism of Emma Curtis Hopkins. Registration is on cslportland.org. We look forward to seeing you Thursday in our online Zoom classroom.
And do they have to have had the first Emma class, which was lessons 1 through 6?
It's preferred, however, Emma, we all take it in at whatever level we are, and one of the things about our online classes or about our education program in general is that everyone is a teacher, everyone is a learner, because all of our experiences are valued and honored.
Thank you. That certainly answers that. So I just want to point out that our flowers are, as usual, provided by our own Kat Jacobs. Thank you, Kat. And our musicians today, you've already seen both of them. Kristen Amundsen is going to be doing our congregation songs, and our special guest musician today is Steele Steele, formerly known, like Prince, formerly known as Lauren Steele, but now Steele. And so we look forward to her, both of you, doing the beautiful music for us. So sit back and relax, because we know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, and the message is exactly what your heart came to receive.
I this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is sacred love. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God.
And so as we go inside, knowing that there is only this one power, this one presence, this essence of love, the power of life, everywhere present, in, through, and as everything, every part of the universe. And it includes peace and harmony, love, wholeness, unity, creativity. All of these beautiful qualities are all that God is and more. And so knowing that Spirit is the highest and best of all. And so I just affirm that I am a being of God. As God is everywhere and in everything, that means God is in me, as me, through me. And I affirm that this is the truth for every person here, every person hearing us, that we are all beings of God, as gods, here, vehicles for the expression of all these beautiful qualities of God in our human daily life. And so I claim and affirm first for us today that there is a perfect wholeness in each one of us, that we are created in the image and likeness of Spirit, and that means that we have all these qualities of God within us. We have this wholeness, which is a spiritual prototype of perfect body, and there is nothing that is stopping us from the realization of this wholeness, but our thinking and race consciousness and other thoughts that are keeping us from our perfection of wholeness. And so I know that as we increase our faith as we learn more and more about how Spirit works in us, through us, as us, that we are able to do the healing work that is needed physically, mentally, spiritually, that we are all part of that oneness, that wholeness that is Spirit. And so I just claim and affirm the perfection of Spirit moving through us, that we are expressing it as vehicles in this life of the wholeness of Spirit. And so I give thanks for this, for knowing this truth, for knowing that as we build our faith and as we know how the law works with us always, I am just so grateful to know this truth and know that we are in the process of healing, in healing right now. And so I just release my word into the action and activity of the law that always says yes to all that we are claiming and affirming, and know with fire in our belly that that is the truth of our being. And so I release this, I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. And as we go into the silence, I just invite us to think about, what does that mean to each one of us to be perfect, whole, and complete?
For every hill there is a valley, for every winter the promise of spring, for your heartache there will be healing, though it's not easy remembering. For every tear there's comfort, I promise. For every midnight, the deep breath of dawn. But in the darkness, no one can blame us for wondering how everything went so wrong. Wondering when the lights will come back on. What if the sky is always blue? Just beyond the clouds. What if the only thing to do is live this life out loud? 'Cause it's gonna hurt sometimes, no matter what we do. Never mind the doubt, just beyond our view. I believe the sky is always blue. Here we go again, the headlines are screaming, fears and divisions, diminished returns. But even in the darkness, we keep on believing that the sun still brightly burns. Maybe that's what we were born to learn. What if the sky is always blue? Just beyond the clouds. And if this all is just an illusion, we can live this life out loud. 'Cause it's gonna hurt sometimes, no matter what we do. Never mind the doubt just beyond our view. I believe the sky is always blue. 'Cause it's gonna hurt sometimes, even if we know the truth. Never mind the doubt. Forget about those clouds just beyond our view. I believe the sky is always blue.
Oh, it's a treat to have Steele with us. Thank you. Happy Sunday, everyone. Glad you've joined us today. So we're going to pick up right where we left off last week. Now, I know some of you weren't here last week, so I will give you remember those TV shows where they would always try to catch you up if you just came in the middle? Well, I'll do my best here. Last week, we talked about two key elements of the science of mind: the power of our word and the activity of the law. So the power of our word is that ability to make a pronouncement almost on behalf of spirit itself as to something that we would like to see changed in our affairs. So it could be a pronouncement, a word of health. It could be a pronouncement or a word of abundance or joy or peace. And in fact, I gave you a little cheat sheet last week, which I think is in your program this week too, that talks about 13 of the sort of power words of God that you might think of in terms of a pronouncement. And we, of course, use the biblical reference from the New Testament, let there be light. And you'll remember we practiced, right? Let there be light. and wow, that sounded kind of good. Actually, let's try that together. Let there be light. Okay, so that is the way the word works, right? We weren't second-guessing ourselves. We were just saying it. We were being bold. And we can do the same thing with any of these qualities of God. If you want a healing, if you want more wisdom, if you want more enjoyment in life, the trick is to not, how do I want to say this? Not psych yourself out, not think you have to settle for less, not backpedal and say, why me, or why do I deserve this? Anything that you can hold in your heart and anything that you can hold in your mind and do it with confidence, that is the word. That's the power of the word. That's in theory what was used to create the heavens and the earth and what is still being used to create our experience of the world. Now, there was, you'll remember also last week, the tiniest little caveat, just the teeny tiniest little reminder that unfortunately, sometimes we can actually use the power of our word in negative ways. Have you ever heard someone kind of self-sabotage themselves by almost doing a little affirmation of something negative, like someone saying, "Oh, I never buy a lottery ticket because I'm the most unlucky person on the planet." Yikes. I hope not, right? It's like, let's cut ourselves a break. But what I often do see is little ways that we sabotage our own experience of the world through this power of the word. We make a pronouncement almost in good faith, but it's a negative thing, something that we certainly wouldn't wish on anyone we loved, but why do we do it to ourselves? Why do we look in the mirror and say, this is anything less than beauty? Why do we look at our bank account and say, oh my gosh, I'm poor and I'm always going to be poor, right? These are the little things that we do, and it is actually using the power of our word, but that's the gotcha. Because that law that we talked about last week, it's not very good at judging what's best for us. The law that we talked about last week simply takes the power of your word and sort of mysteriously creates your experience of the world to match that pronouncement. So if that pronouncement is about love and life, it's like, oh boy, I'm set up. That sounds nice, right? But if that pronouncement is around self-doubt or lack, unfortunately, it tends to bring more of the same. It's just the way it works. And one might say, I've heard people say, and I've had some good arguments around it. And if you'd like to argue, seek me out afterwards. But I've heard people say, well, God knows best. And I take a little issue with that. It isn't that God doesn't know best in the universal scheme of things. It isn't that God doesn't know perfect love and perfect light and perfect joy. But God is not a human being. God is not a guy sitting on a throne on a cloud somewhere that has human values and human expectations, right? And so if you are drawing to you negativity, God isn't going to say, oh, well, Larry shouldn't have that. He's a good guy. No matter what he says, I'm going to give him happiness and light. God doesn't work that way. God uses that power of your word, and through the mysterious force of the law, it creates your experience of what's going on in the world. And it simply always works that way. And so don't think that God knows better about your own personal life than you do. God may know better about the cosmos. God may have universal plans for love and life and joy. But if you want to see your own situation improve, you have to make your own pronouncement. You have to use the power of your own word more specifically for what you want to experience in the world. Make sense? Okay, well, I'm going to move on today because it does bring up a couple questions. My whole talk last week, I hope some of you at least were doubting Thomas's, right? I hope a couple of you had a couple questions going on, and I can think of what at least one of them was. That's the question of facts. Well, Larry, you might say, it's all very well to say one of the qualities of God is wholeness, and so therefore the essence of every person, every place, and every situation is that it's whole and perfect. But Larry, you haven't been to the doctor with me before. Because the doctor seems to think there's all kinds of things wrong with me. Or you might say, well, Larry, it's fine to say that the universe is unparalleled in its infinity and abundance. But I got to tell you, at the end of the month, when I sit down to pay my bills, oftentimes it doesn't look so abundant. So what about these? Are these not facts? Are these not true? And so I do want to highlight a little bit of the difference between facts and truth. So facts are the things that in our human experience, okay, now think about this for a minute. They're things that you will notice in our human experience. And so they are true, but with like a little t on the truth. And so it may be that from time to time, it is difficult to get all your bills paid. It may be from time to find that you do find yourself ill in some way. Those are personal facts in this human realm. But I got to tell you, above and beyond our human experience, metaphysically, there is only perfection, only love, only joy, only peace. God isn't sick. God isn't lacking for anything. God is never anything but joyous and peaceful, right? And because we are made out of God's stuff, because we are made in God's image, all of those things are available to us. And you'll remember last week I talked about the potato chip syndrome. I hope a few of you got a laugh after that. And the idea was, well, okay, I may not have potato chips with me right now when I'm sitting on the sofa watching a good program on TV, but I know they're just in the next room, right? I'm lacking them. It's true. They're not in a bowl in my lap, and I'm not munching on them. But the potato chip syndrome is not difficult to solve, right? They're just in the next room. And if I happen to be out, I can get in the car and go down the street to the store and get them. The fact that they're not in my possession right now does not mean that they're not mine. It does not mean that I shall not have them. And the same is true about wealth. The same is true about health. The same is true about peace. You may not be feeling it right now. The fact of your condition right now may be contrary to that. But think about it as though it's just in the next room. In the next room is the truth of abundance. Just in the next room is the truth of health. Just a few steps away is the reality of harmony in your household. This, too, is the way it works. And those, we think of it as absolutes. Those are truth with a capital T. God is love, and that's love with a capital L. God is joy with a capital J. Now, from time to time, these may not be your experiences, and so your own personal truth, the facts, the earthly facts, may be in contrast with this. And don't get me wrong, we're all about compassion in this faith as well, right? We try to meet people where we are. No one's going to come up to you and say, well, what's in your thinking that made this tragedy in your life? We understand that stuff happens, and we're here to support you in that. But I would also say that those are simply current facts going on. And when we look to a higher truth, when we look to our own unity with Spirit, that God that is always abundant, that God that is always joyous, that God that has unlimited supply, that God that is whole and perfect, when we look to that, suddenly we find ourselves in alignment with a higher truth. And it is that alignment with a higher truth that creates a healing, that brings the love, that allows us to outpicture the peace. And so one of the homework assignments that I gave you last week was to simply come armed today. And I'm going to mention it today because we're going to do an exercise. We're going to have a group healing at the end of the talk today. And so I'm hoping that you all have something that you'd like to be healed. And your little handout here has just some suggestions. On the right-hand side, gosh, there's a whole sea of issues, of things that you might like to experience more of. So, for instance, in the category of joy, there's amusement, bliss, comfort, delight, glee, humor, wonder. Are any of these things that you would like to experience more of in this life, right? So just simply pick any of there's probably about 100 things on the right-hand side there that you would like to experience more of in this life. And we're going to accomplish that this afternoon. We're going to have a group healing. Now you might say, why is it a healing? Why are you thinking of it as a healing? To be anything less than your heart's desire, I think means that there's some barrier to it. I think it means that there's some thought process, something that's actually keeping you from experiencing that. Because if indeed we're made in God's image, and if indeed God is love, and if indeed all these other things are true, then why is that not me? Why am I not always experiencing love? The only thing I can come up with is that a healing of some kind needs to happen. Most likely a healing of either my thinking or my emotions. Somewhere along the line I've been hurt. somewhere along the line I've gotten the idea that I'm not worthy of love, or that love is too hard. And you could look at any of those qualities of God that you might be having trouble with. Let's say maybe you're in a contentious relationship, right? How did that come about? If God is harmony, I mean, you look out in the night sky, doesn't it look like grand harmony, right? The stars aren't like dancing around and, in a fight with each other and things like that. So why is that harmony not in my life? See, I think that's a purely human question. And most likely something needs to be healed. Something that has gone wrong in previous relationships, some trouble, something that were there to be a healing, you would then be in alignment with that absolute truth of harmony, or that absolute truth of love. And so that's what I'm promising, actually, you today. And I want to give you a little anecdote. Oh, wait a minute. First, I should do my joke, though, shouldn't I? All right. So a fellow goes to a certain sort of doctor. I think you know which kind. And the doctor decides it might help to find out what's going on in the fellow's subconscious. So he decides to give him the Rorschach test. So the doctor holds up the first card and asks, "What do you see?" And try to be as honest as you can. Well, the fellow looks intently and says, "I see an old, sad, overworked man, tired of doing the same thing over and over, only visited when other people need something from him, and never being appreciated enough." "Well, I appreciate your honesty," said the doctor, "but I meant, what do you see on the card?" And so that brings up the issue of honesty with yourself. Sometimes I think we're our own worst enemies. Sometimes I think that we settle for way less than we should. I think sometimes we think that our good can only be so large, that love can only be just so much beyond what we've experienced before. Sometimes I think that our small t truth, we have blown it up as though it were the absolute truth. That we've taken an experience that happened to us, sometimes 20, 30 years earlier, when someone said something that was critical or negative, and that was a small t truth at that time, right? Maybe you were the precocious kid that got into trouble. Maybe you did make some mistakes that in hindsight weren't the smartest thing to do, right? We all have lives. We all make mistakes. But because of that one incident, which probably had the element of small t truth in it did happen, it was my experience, suddenly you labeled it with the big T, and you've said, "This is just who I am. I'm clumsy. I'm not lovable. I'm not very smart. I'm not attractive to other people. Who knows what might come out of my mouth. I'm just not very good at speaking." We need to undo those. We need to put them back in their proper perspectives. We need to be able to say, yes, that is something that happened. Just in the same way that, 25 years ago, no, it's way longer than that. We landed someone on the moon, right? It's just something that happened. Now, when I say something like that, we landed someone on the moon, it's just something that happened, right? You don't feel anything in the pit of your stomach. You don't take it personal. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is a circumstance where you would. But do you see the difference between just being a fact and allowing it not to affect you in any particular way? So what I'm inviting us to do, what I'm really saying that we need to be able to do, is to look back on some of those elements, some of those facts that happened in our life and say, yes, but that is not the truth of me. The truth of me is that I'm capable and lovable. The truth of me is that I'm good in relationships. The truth of me is that I attract amazing places to work and amazing coworkers, that I have a lot of harmony and grace around. The truth of me is that abundance is my middle name, and everything I touch turns into success. And when you can overlook those past experiences and move into the absolute world, when you move into God's world, your whole life is changed forever. Because what I have noticed is when you get good at one thing, suddenly you start getting good at a whole bunch of things. When you start being able to identify yourselves, for instance, with something like abundance or something like beauty or something like joy, when you really see that is the truth of you, and when you come into alignment, you suddenly start noticing, oh, wait a minute, it's not just abundance, right? My whole life is blessed. Suddenly, it's not just an abundance of money, it's an abundance of love, and it's abundance of joy, and it's abundance of wholeness. Or take one of the other qualities of God. Let's say you've really got the wholeness down part of it. You go to the gym, you're super fit, you enjoy lots of sports, you're in great shape. The doctor says you're going to live to be 1,000 years old, right? When you've got that nailed down, oh my gosh, suddenly the whole world looks like wholeness. And so there's a wholeness in your finances, and there's a wholeness in your love. Do you see? It's like we talk about these things as though they're separate, and yet I will tell you, when you get one of them, it's the invitation to get life itself, to experience life itself. And so today we're actually going to do that, but I want to read a little bit of Ernest Holmes here as he talks about this idea of going for what's big. Because the other thing that I know about most of us is that we settle way too much for the lesser part of our lives. And so here's what he has to say about that. He says, the individual who gets the biggest concept of what we call life is the one who gets the biggest flow into his or her word. And so it has the biggest power. We are too little, too picayunish. I love that word, picayunish. I'm going to say it again. We are too little, too picayunish, too personal, too full of those nasty little things that we think of ourselves and others. We have got to accept things in a big, big way. My idea of health is that health simply is. It is complete. It is total. I do not think of health as having degrees, as good, better, or almost well. We should take our standpoint as the highest possible means. And so what he is saying here really is to go for the gusto. I taught a class a few years ago, and it was one of our foundational classes, and in it we were learning how to write science of mind treatments or affirmative prayers out. And we're going to end our lecture here today with that. But one of the gentlemen in the class, we worked so hard on it, and I said, well, so what is it you want? In the third part of the treatment, you lay out what it is you want to experience in the world. And he said, well, I want $843,922.87, basically. And I said, wow, well, specificity is good. It's good to let God know what you want to experience. Do you mind telling me a little bit about that? And he said, well, I've calculated this out with my financial planner, and that's the exact amount of money that I need to have in my 401k so I can retire. And I went, okay, that's nice. But I thought to myself, is that really it? And so I asked him, well, okay, but what will retirement bring to you? Obviously, you'll get to stop doing what you're doing right now. I think he was a real estate agent, if I remember right. So you'll have more leisure time. But is that why you want to retire? Just for leisure time? Tell me more about retirement. And he said, well, I haven't really thought about it yet. I don't really even know what I would do. Do you see the problem with this kind of prayer? It's like he could get that money, but is he going to be satisfied with retirement if he has no clue as to what it is? See, he was confusing, I think, an idea of the thing instead of the thing. So that's what I'm encouraging us to do today. Think beyond the thing and into the experience. So, for example, if abundance is an issue that you want to work on today, if you want to be healed of poverty and lack, that's great. But what is the money going to do for you, right? Maybe it's really freedom that you want. Maybe it's really a sense of satisfaction or success. And the same, I would say, is true for health or any of the things that might be bothering us, anything that we want a healing from. If that thing were corrected, what's the experience it would bring you? And I would suggest we can skip the middle person here and just go for the experience. If money would bring you security, then let's pray for security. If love would bring you a sense of contentment, then let's pray for contentment. Do you know what I mean? Let's go for the bigger issue. Let's go big with this. And if you want something, if you're fairly clear in your own mind, well, I want more love, then let's even upscale that. Why just love for you? Why not universal love? Let's all be in love with each other. It's certainly going to bring you love if we're bringing love to everybody. This is what Ernest Holmes is really talking about, that biggest container of life that we can embrace, that we can hold. The biggest container of it will bound to bring us blessings. So not only do we want a healing for us as individuals, let's heal the whole room. Let's heal the whole city, for gosh sakes. We've lived through some interesting times the last year and a half in Portland, Oregon. What about a universal healing, or maybe for the entire country? Let us not think small, because in God's mind, it's really all the same. In God's mind, there is only love, there is only wholeness, there is only joy, and it doesn't just apply to a single person. It's just as easy. Now here, again, some of you may take me to task later, and that would be fine. I would love to talk to someone about it. But there is probably no difference to God between bringing about world peace and peace in your own household. It's simply the level of consciousness to which we human beings bring to it. Well, are we ready for a healing? Let me summarize, and then we'll get on to our healing. So today we covered 3 essential things that will allow us to put the power of our word into practice and today. The first is the difference between an earthly fact and a divine truth. We're going to allow the facts to be what they are. Yes, maybe you weigh more than you'd like. Yes, maybe some test says you're not as smart as you would like, or whatever it is. Those might well be facts. But we are not going to allow those to limit us from God's truth. And God is beauty, and God is wisdom, and God is abundance. The second thing we learned is that the absolute knows no big and no little. It's just as easy for God to heal a hangnail or an entire body or a political system. Healing and wholeness is healing and wholeness. And then the other thing that we've been working towards, and we'll use this in our final prayer, our treatment here together, our group healing, is the idea of the absolute. That idea that beyond any appearances, there is an absolute template of joy, of peace, of love. It's God's very nature, and because we are of God, it is accessible to us always. All right, well, on to our homework and a healing. So this coming week, I want you to build your faith. I would like you to approach every obstacle, big or small, that comes your way with this idea of what is the absolute truth of this situation. So let's say you stub your big toe and you're limping around. Now, we know God is whole. So the truth of my situation right now is that I'm temporarily experiencing a pain, but in my mind I know that I am whole and perfect as God made me. Let's say that you get a bill that you weren't expecting. Oh my gosh. We got our water bill the other day, and apparently all those beautiful plants that are growing out in the yard came at a greater expense than I had thought, right? So I might have the fact of the moment being, holy gosh, I have a $400 water bill to pay. It was over $400. But the truth is that I am absolutely abundant. There is nothing holding me back. I can do the things I need to do and the things that I want to do. And so that's your homework for this week. Every time you're presented with an obstacle, every time that something comes up that is not the way you would like it to be, go ahead, acknowledge it. You do have to deal with it, right? I had to pay the water bill. If I stub my toe, I really should get a Band-Aid out and take care of it, right? I totally agree. We need to carry on with business. But at the same time, hold yourself to a higher absolute truth, because those are the things that will heal you from the condition. And just as though the potato chips are in the next room, say to yourself, okay, all right, I don't know where the money's going to come from, but I know that it's just in the next room. I know that the money that is going to pay for this water bill is wherever it is now. It doesn't mean that it cannot be harnessed. Okay, are we good with homework this week? All right. Now, normally I do, of course, a lovely prayer of my own, but I thought I would treat you to something of Ernest Holmes. So I think I need to set this up, first of all. Just an Ernest Holmes anecdote that is actually mentioned in the book in another chapter. So he used to do healings by mail. No, he did. I know. Some of you probably haven't even written a letter in 10 years, right? We're all into email and things like that. But the book was written in 1920, and at that time, he and his mother had a very robust healing by mail situation. And so he talks about a case where someone came in and sent him a letter for some kind of a physical healing, but he was busy. So he handed it to his mother and said, "Mom, would you mind praying for this person?" So she said, "Okay." Well, a couple weeks pass, and he gets a letter from someone in the same town, another town in New England. And the person says, "Dr. Holmes, thank you so much for the healing." See, that they didn't know that Mom had really done it. And I got to say, my neighbor was instantaneously and completely healed. And of course, then he had to say, "And now would you heal my daughter?" Right? So it was like a chain healing going on here. But the reason I bring that up is, so at that same period of time, he was teaching this class with about I don't know how many people we have here, probably a few more than 40. But anyway, he had 40 people in this class, and he led them in a group healing, which I would like to do with you today. So you'll remember your homework from last time was to pick something in your life that you would either like to see healed or enhanced in some way. Somehow change your conditions for the better. And so keep that in your mind right now as we do a group healing. He says, take something that you feel your mind can encompass, something which you have a mental cognizance within you now, and then realize that this word with which you speak is surrounded by an active power which projects itself around the word, forms the thing which the word embodies, and objectifies it in some way. And we do not have to know the way. No matter how big this thing you have got, just forget it. It's easy to demonstrate a big thing as a little thing. The whole thing must be done without any sense of strain. God does not struggle. God just knows the truth. We feel we are using the one power that exists. We believe and know that our word, which is spoken forth into the power, is a law of good. Saying this here and now, we know there is nothing that can hinder us. And with perfect confidence, let us each take that thing which we are working on, that particular issue in our lives, and the treatment which I shall give is for myself and also for each one of you to treat yourself. And our united consciousness or belief strengthens everyone's. I am thinking now of the thing I am working on for myself, and I invite you to. And it is a great big thing. I feel that my consciousness is big enough to realize what it is, that it's mine to have this thing. I feel that my mind can give birth to it, and so I know that the word which I am speaking now is the law. I can just feel it surrounded by infinite intelligence and power. I know this word. I embody this word. I can feel it. It's backed up by the infinite life, that very presence of the power and life which permeates this word is enough to destroy any thought which is negative or which is a suggestion of limitation. This word of law, this immediate activity, this thing, I realize that it is one with the law now. There are no obstructions to its path. Nothing can keep it away, neither people, place, nor things, because none of those can intercept it. It is done. Perfect harmony, perfect abundance, beauty, freedom, joy, love, peace, power, wisdom, wholeness. That law of perfect attraction is in me, which the Spirit of the Almighty is in me, because I believe. I know that this thing is going out, and it is drawing that thing back to me. Just feel that you have passed this whole issue over to the infinite power and feel that it is being taken up with love. We have no personal responsibility. The good of all life and all activity and all power and all love and all attraction, the irresistible power of the Spirit which sweeps before it everything and knows all and knows all and knows all for it to be done. And so it is. Thank you so much for being here today. Now is our time of conscious contribution. I'd like to invite you to take your gift or your tithe. Those of you online may choose to go to us at cslportland.org/donate. Bless you all for your many gifts. If you'd like, you can repeat after me. Graciously I give, from a place of love. Knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. Would the ushers please begin receiving the gifts? And I'll invite Lo Steele back up.
Before there was a number, Spirit did prevail in a song of ecstasy. Before I had a dream or a lesson to remember, Spirit gently held a song inside of me. So I sing a song of joy, and I sing a song of knowing that all is truly well, and that heaven is at hand. Sometimes I may cry, and I don't know where I'm going, but God's love does prevail. Love only can. When there was no time, and before there was a number, Spirit did prevail in a song of ecstasy. And before I had a dream or a lesson to remember, Spirit gently held a song inside of me. So I sing a song of compassion is the plan. Sometimes I may cry, and I don't know where I'm going, but God's love does prevail, as God's love only can. Do 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 Feel that song inside of me. Feel that song inside of me. Feel that song inside of me. Feel that song inside of
Thank you so much, Lauren. Yeah, come on up. I've been told we have to be in camera range here, so otherwise I'd meet you halfway. On behalf of the Portland Center for Spiritual Living, I've received these gifts with great love. I know that our mission of transformation moves out into the world as we pay our bills, as we make gifts to other nonprofits. Truly, this love expands in the world. I let it be, and so it is. Well, just quickest of reminders before we close today. We are, of course, very interested in helping you in your prayer work as well. So if there's something going on in your life and you would like one of our licensed practitioners to pray for you, several easy solutions to that problem. One, especially if you're online, cslportland.org, the bottom of every single page is a link for an online prayer request. When you fill that out, it auto-magically, through some miracle of science, goes to all of our licensed. Some of the practitioners are laughing at me. Well, I don't know how it works. It's a miracle as far as I know. Anyway, they're automatically mailed out to all of our licensed practitioners and ministers. So it'd be our very great pleasure to pray for you. Also, of course, you can see a full list of our practitioners online. Feel free to email them or call them. You can set up something in person if you like, over the phone or on Zoom. We're as available as we can be. So having said that, let's stand and we'll do our benediction. If you'd like, you can take the hand of the person next to you, completely optional, of course. And if you'd like, you can repeat after me. Something wonderful is flowing through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. And life is in my affairs. I think it. I feel it. I expect it. And I am it. Just the way that I am. Please know with me that you are never alone. If at any time during the day or night, if forgetfulness might come upon you, just go within. On that altar of the Most High, recognize that you are loved. And in gratitude for this certainty, I let it be, and so it is.
Let's do our closing song, The Truth of Who I Am. I am love, I am loving, I am love. I am love, I am loving, I am love. It's the truth of who I am. If I forget, Spirit reminds me again. I am love, I am loving, I are love, we are loving, we are love. It's the truth of who we are, shine our light near, yes, near and far. We are love, we are loving, we are love. You are love, you are loving, you are love. I am love, I am loving, I am
If you happen to be in the Portland, Oregon area, we'd love to have you visit in person. The Portland Center for Spiritual Living is located at 6211 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have inspirational services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Sunday. We also have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. We have a variety of content dedicated specifically for our online listeners. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Our website is also the place to learn more about what's going on at the center or to contact us. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.